Good morning, good morning, good morning. I apologize for being late. Good morning, morning.
We're
So
not with it this morning.
wait, I was actually up, and I was going to do it in the other room. I decided to come down here and do it in this room because the grandkids are here. So if they wake up, they won't come like straight into this room. They'll hear me in the other room. So yeah.
Nice. If I my eyes are all puffy, I'm sick
Oh
with
God.
something. So my eyes are puffy. I look like I've been up like crying all night. I have not. I'm fine.
Like
So
like some type of cold or
yeah, it started last week. My throat was getting sore and now I'm like real congested. It's like in my eyes. Um so like I woke up, my eyes were really swollen.
that.
So, but I'm tired, but other than that, like I feel okay.
Have you been around anybody who might have had COVID? Because it seemed like that's coming back.
I've had COVID so many times. It wouldn't surprise me if that's what I had. Uh, Lord, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, like last week we were at
Good
the
morning, Darren. Good morning.
California State Fair, so there's no telling.
But but you feel okay because you don't have to do this. You could rest. You know that, right? Because we don't pay Morgan for
I
this.
want to be here. I want to be here. After this, I'll probably go lay back down.
Okay. Okay.
Both kids got on the bus this morning
Look, I don't want you
for
to
the
feel
first time ever.
obligated.
So
I know how it is to be sick and still have to push through. But this will be a fun one.
yeah, I enjoyed this topic.
Yeah, definitely a fun one. And like again, I like to do the ones that we actually learn a little something too.
Yeah.
So yeah, good morning, Maki. Aloha.
Good morning, everybody.
Wait
I'm
a
in my
minute.
own little world.
Wait a minute. Maki, you said aloha, aloha. Now you threw an extra aloha in it. What that second one mean? I know what aloha mean. Come these fancy Hawaiian people. Because my favorite one is mana, which is like karma, aura.
I don't know anything about it.
Right,
I
Darren.
can tell like she's having so much fun with this.
Come on, Maki. Aloha,
Mm.
aloha. It's just informal. Oh, shit, that's the Spanish stuff. See, that's the Spanish stuff. Don't tell me y'all doing it to me too. Okay, got you. Okay, so it's like, what's up instead of hello or good morning. It's like, hey, what's up,
She's
girl?
gonna start throwing some more stuff at you just to mix it up a little bit. Make sure my neighbors can't see me.
So it's a Maki-ism. Got it. Maki has a lot of isms. Maki isms.
That's
But you
funny.
know what, Maki? That's good because there is no, you know how people, and I think that sometimes, like, like even within your own family, you know how there is no other you, there is no other Maki. Like you can find, like my granddaughter, you can find me and my granddaughter. Like it's just like there's no other Maki. Unless Maki, there's somebody in your family that, we don't know that is another Maki, but definitely just the whole aura, the voice, the isms, the swag. Yeah, wait a minute. Then the swag because she can turn her swag on and turn it off, type of thing. Like Maki is very unique in personality, and even when you're going through, you always seem to be happy. That is a Hawaiian thing, I think. I think that's just
Yeah. She
y'all.
does always seem to be like very cheery, very outgoing.
Yeah.
She brings the energy for sure.
Yes, I love a Maki live. The animation in Maki voice, like it can be a regular story, a regular conversation about work. Shoot, one day Maki was telling a story just about, being in pain or whatever, and it was funny. It was absolutely hysterical. Good morning, Bosa.
I wish I
Sending
could be like
love
that.
over to the Bosa family. Mahalo, big sister Nicole. Mahalo, 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 mahalo. Okay, I think I know that one. Okay. All right. So now that we have our, it's not Hawaiian. What would that be? Samoan class 101.
Yeah.
Good morning, nephew.
Does Hawaii have snakes?
Well, so Hawaii is one of the very rare. First of all, it is very. That's why it was surprising with Maki. You will meet very few people from Hawaii who like snakes. Hawaii to me is one of the rare, other than Florida. Florida hates snakes for different reasons, though. Hawaii is one of the places where spiritually they just don't mess with snakes. Um,
Hmm.
and so no, you can't
Interesting.
have them there. And correct me if I'm wrong, Maki, unless things change. I don't think you can even have snakes there. No one is going to be like wanting a snake convention. Don't even worry about that. You probably got a handful of people who like them. They probably already moved off the island, such as Maki. Oh no, so it is Hawaiian. Okay, got you. Samoan would be a different. Okay, got you. Aloha Samoan is our aloha Hawaiian. Got it. See, learn something every day. Like I
Good
can
to
remember
know.
the day I learned that Croatia was not in Russia. I swear to God, for all my life, and this was recent. This was like 3 years ago when I learned from a bartender that Croatia actually has nothing in common with Russia. And it was absolutely hysterical to me. I'm like, all these years of my life, I thought like Croatia was like a country or something. I mean, a city or something in Russia. No,
That's funny.
no.
I would love to visit Croatia. Everybody's begging to come out. Yeah, Maki, that seems to be in line with everything that I researched for this topic.
The non-traditional people don't mess with snakes. The more Christian spiritual people don't. Got you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because even like when I do lives, like one of my makeup girls, she's in Hawaii, Tro. She supports because of me, but she'll say it over and over again. I don't mess with snakes. I don't mess with snakes. But for those who are traditionally spiritual, like me, who follow the traditional spirituality, such as mana and things like that, we do because we believe in being a kahu, caretaker to what has been. Got you. See, yeah, like, and it's so high in educating. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
See, I looked like Asia, Africa, South America, all these places, and Hawaii is a part of the US, but
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
it is different. It's kind of like how Alaskans are Alaskans are different.
Both.
Um,
Oh my.
no.
So Bosa, I mean, are you going to be able to be in Daytona where I see you in Florida, where I see you in Daytona, or if not, how close are y'all? Well, you far from Orlando too. If you still, yeah, you're still in Miami, so you're close. So yeah, so hopefully I'll see you in Daytona. But we are on the countdown to Daytona. What's today's date? It's the 5th. Okay, so 11 more days before we leave. Well, 15 more days before we leave. I mean, 10 more days before we leave. And we'll be heading to Daytona and we get to see everybody
I'm
and get
so jealous.
up.
That's what, next weekend? Weekend after?
Think the weekend after. Oh, is it next weekend? No. Well, yeah, the weekend after. The weekend after. Yeah. And then so excited because either while I'm there coming back, the worm eggs will be hatching, and then my acid combo clutch will be hatching probably right before we go. So this would be eventful. I'm trying to push myself to be a little bit more comfortable with going away, even when those events are happening, knowing that I have the support here, but it's hard. It's hard because if anything go wrong, it's everybody else's fault. No, I should have been there. Maki said the 49th and 50th state, which they de-annexed. Make sure you go live for me. So the funny thing is, Maki, in Daytona, I'm not at the show. So I probably go the day of the auction, the night of the auction. I'll go to the show. I didn't even go to the auction last show in Daytona. That's the only auction I've ever been. It's just so much more for me to enjoy at that moment. And because the show is mainly ball pythons. And one of the things that I love ball pythons, but one of the things I do like about most shows is the larger stage, the display of the albino anacondas, even though I don't want one. I like to see them,
That's my favorite part of the Slidell show in Louisiana is the diversity.
Yes, I have to be able to see it all. Like I like to see it all. By the time you walk around the room in Daytona, you can see every python you possibly can see. I guess total the whole time we were there. Last time, and we stayed there 5 days at the show. The show was the weekend. I was there about 4 hours. Everything else was enjoying the city. Hey, Pat, how are you? Yeah, berms are coming, y'all. So take a look out. And every last one of them, except for probably one, I always like to keep 1 or 2 from the clutch. It's going to be up for. So yeah, just keep an eye out. Interesting to see what comes out of this pairing. And hopefully we can prove out some of the or whatever hats that may be in the wild court. So this should be eventful. It should be eventful. All right, y'all. So Morgan, what you got going on? Any updates?
Nope. We got home from vacation last Monday night, and I still hadn't unpacked. I've stayed so busy. So getting my kids went back to school Thursday, and
oh really?
All the things. So.
Yeah, so my grandkids are back for their last 2-week run, so they'll go back home right before Daytona. So we'll get to do some fun stuff before they go back to school. I think they go back the last week in August. So
Mississippi starts so early. I'm not mad about it.
But they get out late, right?
We get out
early too, right?
Yeah, mid-May.
Yeah, see, they go in June, middle June.
So yeah, that's all been I'm hanging out here. Okay, so I have these the black racer eggs that I got over the summer. When I got back from my trip, 3 or 4 of the eggs had dried up. So I cut them open. I cut 2 of them open just to see, and they were dead, but they looked to be fully formed. But the rest of the eggs, they're still soft. You can see the movement inside the egg if you put a light up to it. I've never dealt with snake eggs before. I've seen so many people cutting eggs, and it's do I need to cut these things or do?
No, you wait till they hatch. So I don't know the incubation period for racers. So let's say if the incubation period is 60 days. The only time I will cut is if it's past that 60 days.
Yeah. Or I don't know when they were laid either. So
yeah, I wouldn't cut them. They'll pit. Normally they pit. And then if you can see them moving around, they're probably about 3 weeks out. Because typically with ball pythons, for example, you can see them moving around in the egg at day 5.
Yeah, I can. They don't move around on their own. You can see them in the egg. If I touch it, they'll jump, but they don't.
Yeah, that's probably about day 45. And then just a good sign is when you go and look at them, the eggs itself is going to dimple in so the egg is still full. Don't even think
they are starting to dimple in. That's why some of them dried up completely, but then the rest of them that are like near the back of the incubator, like they're starting to dip in some, which
And
made me nervous because I was like, shit, are these drying up too?
do you have
But
press and seal on the top of the whatever you have them in the
mhm.
on top of the enclosure? I mean, not enclosure, the box you have them in. Did you have press and seal on top before you put the top on it?
a press
Press
and
and
seal.
seal, like the plastic, like the what we call it, what they call it, old school. Like kind of like saran wrap, but it's really called press and seal because it's different from
Oh,
saran wrap.
uh-uh.
Put that, get some and put that on it. That'll help hold the moisture. So what probably happened
Okay.
with the other eggs is that it lost moisture and they dried up. The other ones just happen to have enough moisture in there. So just put the press and seal on the top. It'll help hold the moisture until they decide they want to pip. But if you see,
Okay.
when you see the eggs dimple and you touch it and you don't feel fluid, cut it.
Okay.
Yeah, cut it. But
That
typically,
makes me nervous.
one of them would pit by that. If one pit, cut them all open. That's my rule of thumb.
Okay.
If one of them pit, and look, some of them might like it. You sometimes you might not see their head sticking out. You might just see the eggs got a bunch of cuts in it. So you'll see like they were trying to get out the egg. I consider that a pip too. So if it's you don't see the head sticking out, but they was like ripping at the egg, cut.
Okay. Well, I guess okay.
Yeah, and sometimes just the FYI, even in regular incubation, you can have eggs that just go bad for no reason at different periods. Like the
Mhm.
the very not the clown clutch, but the one before that, it was one egg that went bad and it had strong veins and everything. It went bad. You can see that the animal was fully formed, but it died
Mhm.
in the egg probably at between day 45 and 50.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really exciting to see like a fully formed snake on the inside. I fed them to my king snake. She went to town on it. So then that was exciting to see I was glad they didn't go to waste. But it was an interesting thing to see.
That's why it's important. Like for me, I love keeping monitors because they're good for disposal of animals when necessary. Um,
Mhm.
but eggs that don't like if when the berm laid her eggs and the 6 eggs that were didn't have veins, they went to the water monitor and it's such good protein for the monitor. And the monitor loves it. As you can see the joy in the monitor if you're watching him on
Mhm.
camera of just literally opening the egg, the yolk, like just kind of like how we get something really good to eat. You get this, like you see him like looking around with his tongue just going all around his face, like making sure he get all of it, like he's
Mhm.
really enjoying the meal. So again, things are going to happen, especially when you start to breed, but having like
Right.
that's the true circle of life to me. Like,
Right.
okay, this thing naturally is deceased and it needs to be fed to something that
Yeah.
benefit from it because it really your king snake is benefiting from it.
Right. Now, a
But
lot of people keep king snakes, but a majority of them in captivity do not get,
the proper
yeah,
nutrition,
it's like what they would normally eat
right?
in the wild.
Right.
And I've never seen a snake eat another snake. It was cool to
Mikey, you are a
see it.
snake person. Like you can just like your heart, your care, you are. I mean, of course, space and all of that makes a difference, but like you are ideal in personality, the personality that they need. Right? Daytona Wi-Fi will be horrible. I missed it. Did Bosa say he will be in Daytona?
You said his wife has chemo, so he's gonna wait and
Oh,
see
okay,
how
okay,
she's feeling.
okay, okay. That's why I asked. Okay. I just hope I get to see y'all. If not, if we can try to just, I'll see how far that drive would be. Because how far are you from Daytona? Both to like 6 hours, though, right? I know we couldn't be.
Is it that far? Surely it's not that.
I think it is. I think Miami is like 5 or 6 hours away.
Ooh, it is. It was 4 hours from Orlando.
Tell Emilio come pick me up in his boat, and we and we can cruise back to Miami and come see y'all if you can't make it.
Shit.
I'm gonna make the request. Big Emilio, come pull up in the run. Come pull up on the boat. I need to go see Miss Bosa. Let's see. Forgot to tell you, Big Sissy, I'll be vending my second show in September. Huh?
That's exciting.
With who? I mean, no, what kind of show?
That is exciting. I don't know if I would ever have the. I'd be too nervous to vend a show. I don't know. I feel like the older I get, the more I'm just okay with not being social. And then I get on social media.
Yeah, it's 6 hours.
That's crazy. I didn't realize it was that far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elias, what kind of retake did you get? I love the retake.
She got a punk retake, but she got it from Jordan, so I'll let it pass. It still will get taller than her. It still will get taller than him. I was going to BOP to see when I came to Jax from my BD. Good Lord. I was going to, what? This BOP. Oh, okay. Got you. Yeah, they are distance away. I'm South Miami, second to last city before the Keys. Right. But what are you selling? That's what I'm confused. I'm just
getting the clothes going on
before I start. Oh, with my brother, KZ Lizardman in Grove. Oh, okay. Okay, with another vendor. Okay. All right. Because I was like, what? Elias. You know I had to get you, Elias. You get a pass, bro. Comes from Jordan. You only can get a pass on a punk retake if you get it from Jordan. That's but it'll still get taller than you. Okay. Well, that's good experience. That's good fun. All right, so let's get into this topic. So to talk, it was random, but we got to study or got to read. And the topic today is how snakes are viewed differently in different cultures and can be associated with many things, including. And what brought this up in my head is that I have two different types of friends from the Africa culture. I have one who absolutely, y'all know who he is, Denzel. Love snakes just like we do. Don't, in fact, love snakes, can't say just like, way more than we do. Because he's somewhere hunting black mambas. And that ain't it. I ain't your girl. I'm not hunting taipans, none of that. I'm not teaching y'all about it, none of that. I'm not opening this mouth so you can see the teeth, none of that.
You're not going to free handle a cobra?
I'm not going to free handle. I'm not, wait a minute. Denzel, shout out to Denzel. Not going to live getting bit by a cobra, okay? That's it. The first bite, Nicole was here, but now she's split.
Yes, just take
over. Don't start no shit. So that will not happen, okay? But I will say, the other side of it absolutely is terrified and hate and just look at them just like some of what we would call extreme Christians do here. So how the thought process is more about mythology, and actually more about mythology and less religion, but somehow we tied some of it towards religion too. And that's, of course, is because of North Americans or Christian North Americans anyway. But even in our own, or even in the Christian Bible, when you read through it, how different the snake was viewed in the old serpent from the New
Mm-hmm.
Testament after Christ.
Yeah. It
It,
was spoken about 3 times, and only one of those times was in a negative light, but that
Mhm.
seems to be what everybody has held on to.
And that negative light was the misinterpretation of the Old Testament. And so, yeah, so it's just funny. But going back to the fact that you look at Africa as a continent, and you be like, how can everybody have such this far
Africa is fucking huge.
right? Um,
And, like, people don't think about it because, like, in America, you think, "Oh, you go from Maryland to California, whatever." No, Africa it takes up, like, a quarter of the fucking planet.
right. I mean,
And there's so many, I don't know how many countries, it's
well,
huge.
I think of when
Um,
people would say to somebody said to me one day, well, she's not African, she's Saudi Arabian. And I just put my head right. But people just, because what it is that I think they look at they look at the Nigerian, you know what I'm saying, or
mhm.
they don't look at the Mozambique, the Tanzania, like the different
Right.
places like that where people look totally different. And it's just funny. Like I think Africa, because that's what I'm saying. Like it's in your head even as a continent, because there's other continents that's not as big as Africa.
Mhm.
Is Africa the biggest continent? Somebody
I
help
think
me.
Russia.
Russia.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know.
Wow.
So the woman so we did IVF to conceive our children, and the woman that put our embryos together was African. She was white with a British accent, but she was born and raised in Africa, and people didn't believe her. And they're like, like how many different cultures are in Africa? We looked into going to Morocco. We're telling our family. And I mentioned it like a couple weeks later. I was like, yeah, we go to Africa. And they're like, we thought you were going to Morocco.
Okay.
It's in Africa.
Right.
It's like saying, oh, like I'm going to Spain, going to Europe. I thought you were going to, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah, it's just
but
crazy.
yeah.
And again, that's that we was talking about a couple weeks ago, was it last week, or just about how we as Americans, how our ego makes us think we the biggest, we the baddest, like,
We're the
and there's
best.
yeah, and we're just like we're nothing compared to these other countries in size and volume, and even in
Yeah.
technology. Like I always think of like the stuff that they do in Japan and even Amsterdam, like somewhere like Amsterdam, like the technology that we see when we go to other places is
The
so
transportation alone in the rest of the world,
is crazy
it
compared to.
makes the US look like almost like a third world country. Like we are decades behind.
I mean, I can't like even down to how in their public places, their Coca-Cola machine, use that for example. They don't have to touch their machines. They verbally can communicate to get the soda or can or whatever delivered to them without touching the machine. Therefore, less chance of them getting COVID or whatever the case, or any other infection or disease, which I think is absolutely phenomenal because everything and a lot of things over there is voice activated. We do our little thing over here. We tell Alexa what we want her to do and stuff like that, but they do stuff on a whole nother level. In these high tech places. Yeah, they do everything correctly. Like even down to
I
we're
think
going
how they do their like schools and stuff, they make the kids do all this stuff. I'm like, that's how it should be.
and the
But
thing is that well, I ain't gonna say the kids still have balance, but education is way more important than anything else in those countries. But they still get balance because they don't have to go to school. They go all year, I think it is, but they don't go to school all day. And I think most kids would prefer to go to school for 2 hours and just play all day, all year, than to go and only have a summer. You know what I mean? Because if I
mhm.
was kid. I didn't like school in the winter. I rather school in the warm months, but in the winter, I hate going to school because I hate it when it was real cold. And you're right. It's all ego. It is like it's so weird how
And then
we
if
all
you tell people how other places do things better and more efficiently, they're like, if you don't like it here, leave.
right.
How about we make it better?
How about
Assholes, maybe I don't want to leave my friends and family. Why don't we just
we
do
take a
better?
ticket too from them and make it work here, right? Like when you talk about the healthcare systems in certain countries, where it takes care of themselves, they pay more for education, which, I think that if people invested more into people's education, our kids would take education seriously. And so would the parents. The parents would be more invested to make sure their kids are learning something, not going to school fighting and throwing cell phones at teachers. But that's never the case. Yeah, this again, your school season about to start again, Eli. I just pray that you ain't got choked up by a child.
Well, okay, so I sent my kids back last week, and Elias is teaching. Great, good for you. Love that for you. I will never ever return back to a classroom. These kids are off the chain. The parents are worse. You could be paying you. I wouldn't take $500,000 a year to step foot back in a classroom. One of my, I don't know if I should.
I wouldn't last a hot day with teenagers. I think. Well, I don't know. You know what, Morgan? I think if you gave me a class full of sassy adult girls, and I was like a class for discipline. You know what I mean? Like where they send them to this class with Miss Nicole, and then we just talk about life. I'm just keeping it a real. I could do that. I could be a mentor. Let's say that, like a teacher.
You don't want to be in okay. So one of my kids from last year, the mom came and said, she doesn't do well with being told no. Can you find another way to get her to not do stuff? I said no. She's gonna learn how to. She's gonna learn to be told no. This same little girl, like they were like, oh, she knows where she's going. We just kind of let her roam the building. Like, not my class. Like, have y'all lost your minds? The kids are bad. The parents is what ruins the profession. I can't. It's
because
it's soul crushing.
With a child, it's because of their parents, not because of them. Like for me, my act right was in everything that I did. Like if I did something, like I had a teacher disrespect me and I called her mama, I did that boldly because I knew my parents would come and support me. You had no right to say what you said to my daughter, and yeah, my daughter probably would have came back with your mom, and we support that. So I would do things that I knew that my parents would come out there and stand toe to toe with me. What I wouldn't do is things that I know that my parents would come and snatch my neck for. Okay, that's what I didn't do. And so, like throwing something at a teacher, the teacher wouldn't have to whoop my butt. My mama would have put
but
me.
Now I've had the day I found out I was pregnant with my oldest, I had a kid pick up a wooden chair and swing it at my abdomen. The mom said it was my fault for making her child mad. Like, and that was 9 years ago. Now we're calling them the COVID babies, the babies born 2020 and after, are on a whole other level. I had one kid last year, the parents contacted administration and said, my kid doesn't like it when Miss Morgan has to leave and go give her kids insulin shots. Can we do something about this? Administration brought me in and said, can you just not give them carbs? Because, we don't want to make this kid upset that you have to leave for 5 minutes at a time.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't give a shit about this kid's feelings. You don't want to hire a nurse. I don't care about this. Like, they don't care about the teacher's responsibilities or anything they have going on. They just want what they want. The parents are entitled, spoiled assholes.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. I definitely couldn't do it today. I could have done old school teaching where kids came with, you always had that one child, one person in your class that might.
But now it's all of them.
You understood them. Normally that was a child whose parents was there very few back then who was drug addicted. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
understood that there was not love at home and something. So you try to be good
Yeah.
friends. Teachers were very empathetic to that, you know, all of that. Like I
But
don't
now
know.
it's all of them, and you
Well,
can't do it.
topic. We're gonna get into the topic right to this, but the whole situation with the teacher who had the kids braiding their hair. What I said, it's kind of like how people didn't like when Kirk Franklin started to come out singing and dancing and you know what I'm saying, like dancing to gospel music or whatever. When Kirk Franklin came out with Stomp, he reached a whole new generation of people who probably otherwise wouldn't have never heard gospel music, cared about it, or even know what God's properties were, including themselves. Okay. So
Yeah.
what I say well, some of my best teachers, even back in the day, were the teachers who did unconventional things that allowed us to remember. Like I remember we had Miss Thompson, and Miss Thompson used to eat French fries, chicken in the morning for breakfast with coffee and hot sauce all on the chicken and the French fries, and ketchup and hot sauce on the hot sauce on the chicken and ketchup and hot sauce on the French fries. When I swear to God, we couldn't wait to get to Miss Thompson class to learn math. Wow, she eat her food because the food smelled so good, and she knew that. And so she would wait until our class came and she would eat breakfast. She would eat that for breakfast because the sense had us focused. We would be focused on her, watching her eat that chicken. And she used to have this, like, you know, you just watch people lips, and she had this lipstick that when the hot sauce and the lipstick blended, it made it look even better. Like anybody who went to school with me, remember, we liked Miss Thompson class because it smelled like Miss Reed's carryout when you walk in there. And she would teach us everything we needed to know. I can still remember some things that she would say because of how she ate the chicken. Some things that you can bring those children who, especially today, who don't have good home environments. Braiding that man's hair could have had the entire class focused. The people sitting on this side watching the braiding, because braiding is therapeutic, just like makeup and other stuff that we like to do.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
like the ADHD kids. You give them something to focus on, and it.
yes, and in the girls who was doing it, it actually brings that camaraderie here with the teacher, where that teacher probably learned more about them girls and their lives at that moment that he needed to know that he otherwise probably wouldn't have never gotten out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And people made such a big deal about that. In fact, I don't even think he was here. I think he was in my county. I think he was a PG County teacher, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely gotta relate to some of these kids in a certain way. Yes, if I didn't feel proud about it, I was wrong. Right. If you couldn't say that, yeah, mom, I said it. And I never forget when the teacher lied and said I called her a bitch. And my mother said that to her. One thing about my daughter, if she called you, she would say she did and suffer the consequences. So you heard what my daughter said, it was somebody else, that was somebody else. And that's all I can say. My mother know me. Like my mother has whooped my butt for shit I said. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna back down from my mother. I'm definitely ain't gonna back down from you. You know, I'm gonna take the blow to the chin or whatever's gonna come with it. But I'm not gonna lie and say that's not what I said. No, if I'm gonna be bold enough to say it, be bold enough to get laid. My generation and younger are the worst parents. This is why I'm glad I don't have kids. And you know what, Eli? Somebody posted this the other day, and that was kind of like what you said, but what I say is in retrospect. I think your generation is the generation who should be having kids at 40, honestly. Like me, we were we got to have them by 25 because we want to live our best 40s. It was a whole different, it was easier to even feed kids back then. I don't know how y'all feed children today. I'm dead serious. I don't know.
Chicken nuggets and fries.
Like, I don't know how to do it. There's nothing free anymore. We had free lunches when we went to school. There's nothing free anymore. When my kids,
if I send my kids to school to eat breakfast and lunch at school for both of them, it would, and they don't get anything extra, it would be $306 a month to feed these little gremlins. And it's a shitty lunch. It's cardboard pizza and stale fries.
There used to be free lunch. Your luxury was the lunch you bought from home. If you bought a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a chocolate milk from home, that was a luxury lunch compared to the free lunch you got at school. But my whole point is that, like, even for me at the time that Jada and Michael were in, like, I think maybe late elementary school, middle school, they started making you pay, but you could go, they went by your income. So they paid reduced. I didn't have to pay, like, I guess that it was $2.40. I paid 80 cents. But even still, it was a portion. Now y'all paying for your, if you don't feed your kids, and if you can't, because some people can't. That's another thing. The school was a refuge for kids back in the day. Now, if you can't feed your kids at home, your kids can't get fed there unless they're friend. Like my granddaughter always talking about feeding one of her friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I share my food with this one, I share my food with that one.
It's too expensive.
So crazy. Like, yeah, like, so when someone says somebody, you don't have kids by 30, that ain't old. Like, in this generation, I can get it. Back when I was coming up, it may seem appear that those are the right things to do. Even when you come down to marriage, like, the way that people perceive marriage now in this generation is not what marriage stands on. And so therefore, that you got to be very selective if you want to actually marry somebody, because if you want it to last, because I'm telling you right now, God is what keeps marriages lasting. Our egos, ourselves, will get us divorced every day, including me and Slim. So don't even think that there's nothing else greater in a lasting marriage than God. But a lot of people don't see things like that. They don't see that, and that's what marriage is. We was talking about this the other day. I don't know who posted was like, so you can call it a civil union, anything else, but this is held together by God, because egos get in the way every other day, if not. So, and that's any marriage. I don't care who it is. If they say that every single day they get along, 365 days of the year, 24/7, that's a lie. An hour or two of at least 2 or 3 days a week, I'm mad. Okay. About
so my husband, me and my husband grew up way different. He never saw his parents have any sort of arguments. And then I saw my parents have way too many arguments. So we get married and we argue, fight, and he's like, it's just not supposed to be this way. And I'm like, it's normal. It's normal to fight. Like, we're not going to get along. I don't get along with anybody 100% of the time. Like, I'm not a nice person. You had to expect this.
You don't get along with your children 100% of the time. Why would you think the people that you gave birth to? Okay,
so. Right. We wake up fighting. Like, it's good morning. What the hell are you doing? What's wrong with you?
And then just some days I think like when we so me and my husband, this past anniversary, it was my turn to like plan everything, and so we did these talking point cards. And so basically what these cards do is and they have them for different relationships, for marriages, for in different parts of your marriage. Like, say if you want to make sure that you're keeping the lifeline, the rekindle cards and stuff like that, which is the ones I choose, because I always like to, like, we talk a lot, but maybe subjects the random subjects that should come up don't come up, and these cards help force that. It was one of the best things that we've done on the anniversary, like, because it forces questions that he wouldn't be thinking about asking, I wouldn't be thinking about asking, but you can't avoid the card. So once the card is set up by 6 different categories. Once you draw one of the cards, whatever is on the card, you have to respond to. You can't just say pass that one or whatever. The only one pass is the ones that like we just talked about this morning, like, and laugh about it, something like that. But other than that, you had to talk about it, and it was just like so cool. And it's 200 cards. Our plan is to get through all 200 by the end of the year when we do our little getaways and stuff like that. I keep some in my pocketbook, so they on Amazon. If y'all want to look up for any relationship, you can do it with your children. Like, you can get the ones that's for building relationships with your children or whatever. But it's such the coolest thing. And like I said, some of the questions, you think we communicate a lot, okay? We over communicate sometimes. And we still came across questions. It was like, wow, like, we never asked each other this in 15 years, or
or you think the answer to it, so you don't talk about it,
right?
Until you do, and it's like, wow,
it's totally different from what you thought. Like, wow, that's how you felt.
Or if you talked about it 15 years ago, and you've grown, and your perspective has shifted.
Yeah, it was so much.
I would enjoy stuff like that.
Yeah, it was so much. It was actually one of the like we did it. It was and I just because my husband was like, oh Lord Jesus, I don't want to do this kind of stuff. But he was so into it to the point like we was at breakfast. He was like, you got the cards, like we was just pulling them out everywhere. But he really enjoyed it, and because it's hard to get him to do like things that is going to not be planned. He's a Capricorn. Everything got to be planned out. But these cards, you couldn't plan your responses. Like even like it was moments where a card would come and we would go, the question would come up and like my face would be like, whoa, like, like where did this come from? Or he'd be like, oh, I got to think about this one before I respond. But what you couldn't do is avoid the questions. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
That would be fun.
All right, so we're gonna get back into this topic again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. So back to the topic.
It's 7:50. We haven't spoken about this topic.
All right, so back to where we are. So we're talking about the different people, different parts of Africa, continents, and all that. Then we got off. I don't know where we got from there to there, but here we go. So of course, one of the topics is death, destruction, and pain. And this one is based on Nordic mythology. Snakes are associated with these themes, especially in the Midgard serpent, which the Midgard serpent is what we know as the serpent and not the snake. Like, so what some of us would identify as more like the dragon with the fire and all of that. And then in the Mesoamerican culture, which is like, the Aztec culture, Aztec religion, Inca religion, Mediterranean, I guess, too. It's worship as God. So this is the one that they actually worship snakes, like not saying hit God, but they like we go through Jesus, they go through the snake to go through to get to God.
Yeah, some of them that I looked at, it was like they were regarded as gods or like God's messengers, like that sort of thing.
Which in the Bible, you see that too in the Old Testament. I mean, at Pharaoh's house, like whenever you walked into, well, not us, you know what I'm saying, but whenever the image of walking into Pharaoh's room, it was a different room, but it was always a serpent that was identifying a certain thing in that particular room. And in his main room, there was all these different, like, I don't know if people pay that kind of, like, if you ever watched The Last Supper next to Easter, like at those parts of the movie, and I guess us being reptile people, I'm more focused on the snakes than the daggone people and the characters in the movie. I'm like, oh, look at that one, look at that one, look at that one. So in that room, his main room, he always had a different reptile that was personification of a different power, which I thought was pretty cool. And then, of course, in our culture outside of the people we're going to talk about next, and when y'all, I consider myself very much one who submits to God and also one who believes in Christ. Okay. So when I say them people, I'm talking about just like I would say if it was a radical Muslim, like they are radical Christians, just like it's radical Muslims. You got Christians who love God, such as I do, and you got Christians who would kill people because they love God, if that makes sense. Just like you got Muslims who love God, and then you got Muslims who will blow up a plane because they love God. So that's what I'm talking about when I say them. Okay. We got them in all religion. Fertility, rebirth, renewal, and immortality. In ancient Greece and Egypt and indigenous North America, which is most of us, snakes symbolize these things, which is crazy because in North America, because of the second group, the radical Christians or radical Muslims or Buddhas or whatever you want to call it, anybody else, any other religion. So I'm not picking on any particular religion. We always, well, not we as people who love reptiles, most people and a lot of people in North America still very much believe that they represent lies, evil, and temptation, which gets on my nerves. And I correct anybody who, if you ever notice when people will post on a page and they'll say, you got to trust a snake to be a snake. What that mean? No, that's your beef with your friend.
Somebody commented yesterday or last night on a video and said, but you have to remember what snakes symbolize. And I was like, from where? Because I'm over here researching. I'm like, from all these different countries, they
Right.
symbolize something different. And with Christianity, it seems to symbolize evil, temptation, lies, that sort of thing. But for the rest of the world, they don't get that negative light. So I asked him to elaborate, and he did not. I think he blocked me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's funny because in like you said, in researching everybody else, so from the outside looking in, if you were in Africa, people from the outside looking in thinks that most Americans believe that they represent fertility, rebirth, renewal, and immortality. Um,
Mhm.
and I love the immortality reference because this is what I thought about when I was, reading. A lot of people, when we talk about this, say snakes save their lives, right?
Mhm.
And life is for fertility, life is rebirth, life renews, right? And
Right.
life is everlasting, whether it's life on earth or if we believe in eternal life. But when someone says a snake changed my life, it's actually another extension of immortality, like pushing a person through,
Mhm.
which could have been the end of their lives.
Yeah.
Being
That
years.
was the difference between India and China. From what I looked from the Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
have this idea that snakes will prolong your life. It's bad luck to kill them. They're a power of nature, that sort of thing. And then Indians, it's about the rebirth, that sort of thing. And it's because of the way that they shed their skin. It's like they're letting go of everything all at once. And then
Mm-hmm.
they have this new skin and move forward.
So that's in the Bible too. I don't know why we don't read it. Those same examples.
A lot of those Christians don't read the Bible.
I,
You start quoting things, and they're like, "That doesn't," and it does say that. Read it.
it is when I tell you it's those same beliefs is in the Bible. In fact, I cannot remember the exact act, but there's a part that's in there where he actually tells them to grab the power from the snake and you'll be fine.
Mhm.
There is a part in the Bible that actually talks about bringing in the venom of a snake to save lives, or to
Mhm.
improve lives, which we do here in America. If you don't know that,
It's
a
used in
lot of
medicine all
people are
the
getting
time.
treatment is getting venom, snake venom through your
Right, breast cancer and
yeah,
diabetes, things
yes.
like that. I had a friend who her kids are diabetic, and she hates snakes. And I was like, "Well, without snakes, you and your kids
We
wouldn't
have
have your
medicine.
medicine."
Yeah, blood thinners, any like heart pressure medicine, like so many medicines we have. And so when we say you don't believe that it's for renewal, rebirth, it's in your medicine and all
Right,
the
and that started in ancient Greece. That's what
right.
they used it for medicine all the time.
So
They
it's
use
not
it for animals
nothing
too.
new. It's just that we don't believe it. And I think it's very ironic. Um we with all of us, right now in this room, everybody sit in that snake room. Everybody just be quiet and close your eyes.
Mhm.
Peace. Peace. They also bring peace. We
Right.
say that
There's a
we
lot of people say that they have anxiety. The people in the reptile community, that their snakes help their anxiety.
my nephew's girlfriend, high anxiety, was terrified of snakes. She came in here one day and she was telling me something that was going on in her life at the time. And it was heavy on her. She was sitting at my dining room table, my kitchen table. And she was like, I get very nervous when I talk, when I talk about these things. And sorry if I'm fidgeting or whatever. I went and grabbed the snake. Or I'm talking about Kate, Jarek's girlfriend. Take it, and I put it right in her hand, and she forgot she was even holding the snake, and she just started telling me everything she needed to tell me. Just nice and
Mhm.
relaxed. I let her keep talking. True story.
It's
Verify.
like nature's like fidget
I didn't
toy.
say a word. She talked for about an hour. And when I said, You finished? I said, okay. So first I want to start off with, remember you was afraid of a snake. Remember you had anxiety, all of that. You held the snake for 1 hour and poured out everything you needed to tell me in 1 hour. She was like, oh my goodness. Like, yeah. And it's just like that, where the power of a reptile, and this is with someone who was terrified of them. Right. It's just the worst sometimes. Like, and I mean, I have my own opinions and feelings and stuff, but they apply to me in my life. I tell people that all the time. When I die and I go to heaven, I'm gonna have enough of my shit that I did to people that I'm gonna have to discuss with God. That's gonna have to actually get me the back door into heaven to be worried about anybody else's sins or discretions. Okay, I got enough. I don't care how far I'm removed from them. I have done some things in my past that me and God gonna have a talk about before he say welcome on in. Or because like we were talking about forgiveness, I tell anybody that I'm not a forgiving person. That's a sin. That's a sin. I am not forgiven. I am not supposed to have the strongholds that I have. God, if I died today, would not be pleased with the vengeance that I have placed upon people who have done things to me. I'm telling you. So I'm gonna be too busy discussing what needs to keep Nicole up there with Jesus to be worried about what even the things that Nicole think. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't be worried about that shit because I have my own shit that is going to need a conversation or two with the man above. Now, if he just let me waltz on that, because I have done some great things too, I'm grateful. But I'm telling you, I'm not one who can close their eyes and say, because some people can. Some people can close their eyes to stay and be at peace and know exactly where they're going to be. My spirit has done some things. My spirit now, my past spirit, and my future spirit is still doing things, still planning some things that God would not be.
Still planning some things. That's where I'm at. Still planning some things
that God would not be pleased with. I don't. No. So that's what I mean by radical Christians. Like I was saying to somebody the other day, a sin is a sin. Just because, like for me, I can express there are things that I have mastered in God's plan that I can share my opinion on. But there's other things that I have not, and that's for every single person on this earth. If there, I only know of one person, and that's my grandmother-in-law, that I can actually think that loved God on a level that she just walked that walk, talk that talk. And I'll say this: try forgiving someone who tried to kill you. Okay, I never can do that. So when you on that level of forgiveness, I think you are a whole nother level of what you are. You know what I'm saying? So when I see mothers say, you killed my child, but I'm gonna pray for you. And I hope that, this experience does you better and that you can come out and be a whole man. I'm not that girl.
I'm not. No.
I'm the one who flew over the attorneys and everybody else trying to get you by your neck, calling my brothers and everybody to grab you by your legs. Like we're not that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Some people can lay down and they can be on that level. I am one who is very honest. Y'all pray for me if I leave the earth today. I'm all pray for me.
I feel like I'm a very forgiving person, but
y'all don't know.
I could forgive somebody and you can be dead to me at the same time. Theoretically, I forgive you, but if I see you in public, don't speak. Yeah, I'm not that nice of a person.
Yeah. So my thing is, though, that's not forgiveness, though. You're like me. You just saying that I ain't gonna wish no harm on you. You're not to the extent where you still trying to hurt them. I get that. But I'm talking for people who can forgive and still invite that person to the kitchen table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no, mine, because I was at my lowest prior to getting my first snake. And whenever I'm down, my husband forced me to interact with my because he knows the joy I get from being in that. Listen, I'm telling you, to Chow and Maui and all of them, they save a marriage on a daily basis sometimes. You never know. Like, so let me go get the snake before I say the wrong thing. Because the one thing I do know, my husband, I'm married to a man that you got to be very careful what you say. Like, you ain't going to abuse him with words. So I learned that early in our relationship, because he's the same way, though. He ain't going to abuse me with words. So I had to respect that. Like, naturally, he's not going to abuse you. Don't abuse me. And we good. So sometimes I have to, this tongue that I have to bite it hard, very hard. And
Yeah.
so I have to walk downstairs and get a couple snakes.
Distract you with something.
Exactly. Because what I bet not do is come out my mouth wrong. I have to start my first job of the day, so I'm about to miss you. Finally get into the topic. Please send me the link of the playback. Okay, nephew. Where's Darren? Darren is letting this go on. Thanks in advance. Love you, Auntie. Everyone have a great week. Roll. Times I get overwhelmed, I just go and sit in the snake room or begin to check tubs and change water. Really helps a lot. It helps a whole lot. And it passes those mental down times. It takes you out of it. Like, bring you back to the level that you need to be. Stan, we be seeing Stan soon. Hey, Stan, thank you for listening at work.
Darren said we can keep going.
Okay. Because y'all know the executive producer of this show is Darren West. Exotic World of Geckos. Definitely at peace in my reptile room. Yep. Nothing like our reptile room.
I think I spend more time in this reptile room than I do anywhere else in the house.
Yeah, I think it's a balance. I spend a lot of time in the baby room. And I say the big snakes spend a lot of time in the baby room too, because they just come over there with me. This used to be the room I spent the most time in, but
yeah,
I'm not in here as much because the oldest snakes are here. So like T'Challa, she's pregnant and waiting for her to go through her process. So right now, even her cage is covered. Like I like for her to have privacy, not a lot of light or anything like that. Like I like for my females, even the female ball pythons, to be so plushed comfortably so they can do what they need to do. Heat, right? All of it, whatever you need, making sure when the biggest snakes, particularly when they get ready to lay, they like to have a higher level of moisture. So making sure that I add an additional level of moisture in there for her, and but she can't see us right now, and nobody can see her. We just come and check on her through the camera we have in there just to make sure she's not laid the eggs or whatever. But that worked really great, and for her the last time. I just want to make sure we do it again just to keep her comfortable. I don't want no distractions. So people don't realize when you put, like, that's why I hate to see people take videos of their snakes laying. That can cause your snakes to stop laying. You can make them that nervous that their natural instinct is to put the babies out into the world. So
that's with any species. Like you can take like a dog giving birth or anything like that. You don't want to overwhelm them because that causes them to stop.
Oh, see, I didn't even know
the process
with dogs. Yeah. I know with I was one of the things that my breeder, the breeder that I got T'Challa in them from, one of the things he shared is just, you don't, even though it's your baby, they giving babies, you don't want to ever throw that camera in their face or something like that, because that'll make them just sometimes just say, so you never see, I don't have any of those type of videos or anything like that. Now her natural camera is on her all the time, so it doesn't bother her. She's not focused on that camera. Like Larry is always focused on his natural camera, always.
I have a camera on some of mine, especially hers.
So what's one is I think that's best for the inside the enclosures is the wide cameras, but you just got to make sure that you program it so every time they move, it's not alerting you. So what I do is I'll put, like, say if I want to see if like right now T'Challa's her motion is on right now because I want to see what she's doing. But like other than that, turn that motion off, because if not, girl, at night, any doubts when your snakes are most active, it is at night. At some point, it's a party between 12 p.m. and 4 a.m. Everybody.
I'll wait. My lights go off at 8 o'clock, and I will wait. I'll sit here at 7:59, and 8 o'clock those lights go off, and I see everybody's heads poke out all at the same time. It's like, all right, where's everybody at? What are we doing?
Right. Hey, here.
Try to escape gets started right away. Which is normally not this one. So back to the topic, I looked at different, like all different countries, and they all pretty much aside from like the heavily Christian influenced
Based
countries,
countries, yeah.
um, they all pretty much said the same thing. But one thing that struck out to me was Southern and Eastern Africa. It's not seen in like a negative light, but they do tie it into like
Witchcraft.
some kind of like witchcraft. It's a symbolism to respect the human body because they have this idea of like an invisible snake in the pit of your stomach that will move throughout your body.
Oh, I missed it. I
Um,
missed that one because I didn't see anything.
I'll have to send you. I'll have to send you the link to that one because it was different, and it all boils down to don't do anything to your body to piss off the snake, and basically respect your body. Don't harm
So,
yourself. Don't harm other
when you
people.
said that, I'm thinking about the intestines.
Hmm.
How the intestines look, how they actually are in the
Yes.
form of a snake. And talking about the pit of the belly, like, so I want to just read, just, I'm weird like that. I just want to read it further and just so I can see what it symbolizes, bro.
It's interesting to read
Countdown, bro.
about.
Countdown, bro. Countdown, countdown, countdown. Be seeing your soon turn all the way up. You, I may forgive, but I'll never forget. Therefore, there will be no invite to my table. Just how that shit goes for me.
I'll pretend I don't know you anymore. We could have been best friends for 20 years. I don't know who you are. We've never met.
Hi, beautiful Lily. We started late, so I figured keep the party going.
So, Maki said there's a reason why medical symbols have the snakes.
Yeah.
That it comes from ancient Greece where the snake venom and things like that, it was used in medicine. We took a lot of things from ancient Greece, and that was one of them. They're considered to be wise, divine.
Renewal.
You can't go back there. Stop.
And of life. People are never paid that. And that staff is on everything. The hospitals, ambulance, everything.
Right. And then in other cultures, it symbolizes rebirth, death.
Renewal.
They're discouraged from being harmed, that sort of thing. Like when you look at the cultures that are not heavily influenced by modern day Christianity, you get a lot of the similar. You get like similar feelings with snakes, and it's not bad.
I typed it in the chat, Maki. You can get them off of Amazon. And you don't have to get the $100 one. You can get the $50 one. It will do everything you need to do. The $100 one just has, actually, I don't even think they have the $100 one anymore because I think most people figured out that the $50 one was just fine. But the $100 one, I can see if you had like a big, like acres, that thing will catch a good view of like a long entryway or something like that. But for what you need it for, the $50 one, $40 one is just fine.
Babies low key, but they stay like that. Absolutely.
I snuck in and hid in the corner. You're funny. I do that a lot, Hugh. I do that a lot. I'll watch a whole show. I'll be just in the corner chilling. Orlando, you home or you traveling right now?
Oh, Maki, yeah, this is Nikita. She's nosy. She wants to come out and see. I have several of the snake enclosures open in the morning, and she always comes and sees what I'm doing.
You can see that motley belly way over here.
This is my baby. I love her so much.
Because I just so sweet. Mikey got a sweet boy. All of them are sweet. The only one that's not sweet is one of the ones I held back, and that's why I held her back. The one that we had to force feed. And when I say not sweet, she's fine once you pick up, but her food response is crazy. Crazy. Like right now, if she was woke and not full, if I walked over there, she's gonna strike at that enclosure. But she's fine once you open the enclosure. It's just she thinks she's eating everything. But everybody else are very, very sweet. And that was one of the super motleys. I wanted to keep one of them anyway, so it worked out. She's just crazy. I'm getting a lot of talking points from y'all so I can debate reptile haters on social media. Yes. That's what I mean. Again, like I said, we learn so much just doing these shows. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know a lot, but when you dive into something like the point that I want to research that Morgan was talking about, like now that she mentioned that, they believe in that. I'm like, and now it's funny how our intestines is either
Is that my connection or yours? I don't know. We're both spinning.
your guy is just a little brighter because that's just how his mutation came out. So they're the same exact genetics, but he took way more of the orange down his tail. But hers, when hers freshly shed in the sun, that thing looks like it looks goldish bronze.
Yes, I'm gonna post a video today. It's a video I took back in like October, and I never posted it. I'll post it today on Instagram, and you'll see like she's orange, like she's
Yeah,
orange out
yeah,
in the sun.
she is.
But then you put her under like a light, and she glows blue.
It's just
It's so
different.
pretty.
It's the motley. It's that
It's so pretty.
motley just does it with all the different combinations of like all of them. Like they just have something even the normal. I told you that normal is just gorgeous. Oh, passing through Texas. The good part of that job is you get to see and travel everywhere. Um, that's the good part. The bad part is in a big ass truck. That would stress me out.
That stresses me out.
I drove a 22-foot, okay, from here to Ohio and was stressed out. So let alone one of them big old things. Especially when y'all got to drive through snow and rain. Oh no. See, I would never make the deadline. I'm like, I gotta pull over. Pull over. It ain't safe. I'm not gonna make it. Lord King just came out of shed. I'll send y'all both a video. Cool. Hi, Fred. If I didn't say hi this morning, I don't think so, because I don't think I saw you this morning when I started. Got everyone say good night, Hugh. Good day, Hugh. Lord Jesus, I'm ready to just call it a day tonight, huh? Morgan has some cool animals. She does. She does. That particular animal is an animal that I created. She got that animal for me. I don't have any more available. Well, no, I do. I have one available. That doesn't look like that. The other one I have is the Machino Motley Sunfire. Good morning, Emily. But mom is pregnant again, but I think it's the different sire. I'm hoping it's the different sire. I hope Mystical is the dad and not Hefe. Although Hefe and her made wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous babies, I want the double het albino pies from the combo with Mystical. So yeah. All right, y'all. So we are 9:16 in. I think this is the last time we ended the show around this time the last time. But before we end, I just want to remind everybody, if you're going to Daytona and you are a female reptile hobbyist, I'm bringing with me some what y'all want to call them, because everybody call them different. I call them crop tops, but they're gonna be crop top Lady Tiz exotic shirts. You can hit me up, send me your size, and I'll bring it with me to Daytona for any of the ladies that's going to be present there. Elias, I don't know if you're still in the chat. I don't know if you're going to be in Daytona or not. I still got Elias' first clutch shirt and Bosa's first clutch shirt. So Bosa, I'll bring yours because I bought them to Daytona last year and forgot to give them to you, Keys, and everybody because I was just having too much fun. And then I gave Keys and them finally. I was able to finally give them theirs when they came up to PA last month. So I'll bring them back down to Daytona again, and I'll just leave them with Emilio if you're not able to make it. But I definitely want to get something special for from your wife for Daytona. Lily, I wish you was too. It is such a great time. I wish you was too. Have a great day, Lily. Have a great day. Morgan, what you got planned for today? Oh, I can't hear you. Morgan having the whole conversation. I can't. Did y'all hear her say shit? She's like, shit. We can read your lips really, really well. All right. So is it my audio too? Hold on. All right. Let me do this and bring. I can't hear you. All right. So since we can't hear each other, we're going to go ahead and end the show. We don't know what's happening here. But everybody let me type it in. Have a great day. Oh, is it just Morgan? Y'all can hear me. I'm so confused. Everybody have a great day. Have a wonderful week. We'll see y'all next Monday. Don't forget, if you have a topic you want us to address, you can just message us and we will cover the topic for you as long as it's reptile related. And or if it's not reptile related, just give us the subject matter that you want us to discuss and why, and we will wrap it into some reptile related content because everything end up talking about retics at some point anyway. So all of a sudden Morgan comes back.
Oh my God.
Morgan can say goodbye. Y'all can say goodbye.
Y'all have a good week.
All right, y'all have a good one. Talk to you later.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.